Imagine walking into a dusty thrift store filled with items most people don't even look at twice. Old furniture pushed into corners, faded paintings stacked against the wall, and random objects that seem completely useless. To most people, it looks like clutter, but for someone who understands value, it's a goldmine. Now imagine picking up something from that pile for just $5 and later selling it for $500. It sounds unrealistic at first, but this is exactly how antique flipping works. What looks like trash to one person can be treasure to someone else. And the difference between the two is not luck. It's knowledge, awareness, and the ability to see potential where others don't. What antique flipping actually is: antique flipping at its core is about buying undervalued items and reselling them for a higher price. But the real skill is not just in buying or selling. It's in recognizing value that others overlook. Most people walk into thrift stores or flea markets and see random, outdated items. Flippers see opportunity hidden in plain sight. They understand that age, craftsmanship, rarity, and demand all contribute to value. An old wooden chair might look worn out, but if it's made from solid wood or belongs to a known design era, it can be worth far more than it appears. A dusty painting might seem useless, but if it matches a popular style or has a signature, it could attract serious buyers. The difference is perspective, and that perspective is what turns ordinary items into profitable deals. The first real flip: a small start with a big lesson. Most successful flippers don't start with huge investments. They start small, often with a single item that teaches them everything they need to know. One example is someone who found an old ceramic vase at a garage sale for just $8. It didn't stand out. It was slightly damaged and covered in dust. Most people would have ignored it, but instead of passing by, they checked for markings and did a quick search. That small detail revealed that the vase belonged to a known pottery brand. After cleaning it and taking proper photos, they listed it online. It sold for over $100. It wasn't a massive profit, but it proved something important. Value is often hidden, and once you learn how to spot it, everything changes. Why valuable items get ignored or thrown away. One of the biggest reasons antique flipping works is because people often don't realize what they own. When someone is cleaning out their home, they are not thinking about resale value. They are focused on clearing space and getting rid of things quickly. Items that have taken years to gain value are often sold cheaply or donated without a second thought. Something that could sell for hundreds might be priced at $10 simply because the owner doesn't see its worth. This creates opportunity for flippers. For every person who underestimates an item, there is someone else who recognizes its potential. That gap between perception and reality is where profit is made. Where the best antique finds come from. Contrary to what many people believe, the best antique finds don't always come from expensive auctions or specialty stores. In fact, some of the most profitable items are found in everyday places. Thrift stores, garage sales, flea markets, and estate sales are filled with hidden value. Even online platforms have sellers who don't fully understand what they're listing. The key is not finding one lucky item. It's consistency. Successful flippers check regularly, visit multiple locations, and train themselves to notice details. Over time, they develop an instinct for spotting items that others overlook. What once seemed random starts to feel predictable. Opportunities become easier to identify, and results become more consistent. Real profit example: turning old furniture into cash. Furniture flipping is one of the most reliable ways to make money in this space. There are countless examples of people buying old furniture at low prices and transforming it into something valuable. One person purchased an old wooden dresser for $40. It was scratched, faded, and looked outdated. Most buyers would have walked away. Instead, they saw potential. They sanded it, repainted it, and replaced the handles to give it a modern look. The total cost of the transformation was around $60. Once finished, they listed it for sale and sold it for $350. This wasn't luck. It was the result of understanding value, putting in effort, and knowing what buyers want. The skill that makes the difference. The biggest advantage in antique flipping is not money. It's knowledge. When you know what to look for, everything changes. You begin to recognize the difference between solid wood and cheap materials. You start noticing design styles that are in demand. You pay attention to small details like markings, craftsmanship, and condition. These details can completely change the value of an item. Over time, this knowledge becomes second nature. You don't have to guess. You know what has potential and what doesn't. And that confidence leads to better decisions and higher profits. Mistakes that can cost you money. While antique flipping can be profitable, beginners often make mistakes that slow them down. One of the most common mistakes is buying based on personal taste instead of market demand. Just because something looks good to you doesn't mean it will sell. Another mistake is overpaying due to lack of research. Without understanding the market, it's easy to assume something is valuable when it's not. Condition is another important factor. Some items can be restored, but others lose value if they are too damaged. Learning to avoid these mistakes takes time, but each mistake also becomes a lesson that improves your future decisions. From side hustle to real income. For many people, antique flipping starts as a side hustle. They buy a few items, sell them, and reinvest the profits. Over time, this process builds momentum. As their knowledge improves, they start finding better deals. As their profits grow, they invest in higher value items. What once started as a small experiment turns into a steady income stream. Some people eventually turn it into a full-time business. The key is consistency. The more you stay active, the more opportunities you find. And the more opportunities you find, the faster you grow. The mindset behind successful flipping. Success in antique flipping is not just about strategy. It's about mindset. You need patience because not every item sells immediately. You need attention to detail because small factors can make a big difference in value. You also need adaptability because trends change over time. What sells today might not sell tomorrow. The ability to learn, adjust, and stay consistent is what separates successful flippers from those who give up early. Final thought. Opportunity is everywhere. The truth is, valuable items are everywhere. They are sitting in thrift stores, garages, and storage units, waiting to be discovered. Most people walk past them without noticing. But once you develop the right eye, everything looks different. You stop seeing clutter and start seeing potential. And that shift in perspective is what changes everything. From trash to treasure is not just an idea. It's a skill that can turn overlooked items into real profit. The next time you see something old or forgotten, don't ignore it too quickly. Take a closer look, because it might be worth more than you think. And if this gave you a new perspective, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more content like this. Because the goal isn't just to find hidden value, it's to turn it into real results.